The Bitter Truth of a Billionaire, Chapter 1. He had the money, but not her heart. One phone call blew the whole truth open. Man, your fancy penthouse is Leak City right now. Malcolm Reed yanked the cell from his ear and hissed, "Handle it, Curtis. I'm 2 blocks away and it's raining buckets." He slid the phone in his jacket, sprinted across Walnut Street, and dove through the steamed-up glass door of Big Mama's diner like it was third base. Grease popped on the griddle. Marvin Gaye crooned from an ancient radio, and the whole place smelled like fried catfish and sweet memories. Malcolm shoved back his soaked hood and shook out rain like a Labrador. A couple of old heads at the counter side-eyed him, then went right back to debating who'd win the Iron Bowl. Nobody recognized the youngest real estate mogul in Alabama. They just saw a wet dude in Nikes catching his breath. "Seat yourself, baby," hollered Big Mama from behind the counter, her arms buried in biscuit dough. Malcolm glanced around. Every vinyl booth was jam-packed except one by the window, half wiped and cluttered with ketchup bottles. He started that way, then stopped short. Renee Carter zipped past, carrying 3 sizzling plates on one arm like a circus trick. No makeup, tight curls tucked under a crimson bandana, smile nowhere in sight. Girl was on mission mode. She slid the plates onto a booth, cracked a joke about hot sauce that made the table crack up, and spun around so fast Malcolm caught a whiff of coconut conditioner before she smacked straight into him. Sweet tea exploded down his chest. "Lord, you good?" she blurted, grabbing napkins. Malcolm, blinking iced tea off his eyelashes, laughed. "Guess I ordered the house special, Southern Shower." A couple teenagers snorted behind their phones. Renee's eyes rolled skyward. "Table 9, y'all hush." She dabbed his hoodie, muttering, "That stain's on me, big spender." He smirked. "Hoodie cost $20 at Walmart, I'll survive." She looked him up and down, pricey watch missing, designer shoes swapped for beat-up Air Force Ones. Yeah, he passed for average. Malcolm felt weirdly proud of the disguise. "Take a seat. I'll bring fresh tea. On the house." She flashed a half-smile, the kind that could light up Beale Street if she let it. Then she was gone, hustling back to the kitchen like rent was due at noon. Malcolm slid into the messy booth, heart thumping louder than the rain hammering the windows. He didn't come in here looking for Cupid, he just wanted to stay dry and maybe smash a plate of smothered pork chops. Yet there he was, checking his reflection in the napkin dispenser like a 13-year-old at prom. Renee returned, balancing tea, cornbread, and a slice of pecan pie. "Big Mama said you look like you needed sugar therapy," Malcolm grinned. "She psychic? 'Cause my day's been trash in a can." Renee leaned a hip against the table. "Try working doubles with a busted fridge at home." She caught herself, cheeks reddening. "Sorry, overshare, enjoy." "Hey," he said softly. "I got a toolbox in my trunk. Want me to take a look after my pie?" The offer slipped out before his brain cleared it with security. She raised an eyebrow. "What, you a handyman now?" "Man of many talents," he shrugged. "Real estate by day, amateur fix-it guy by night." Not totally a lie, but still felt crooked. She studied him a beat longer, weighing vibes like produce at a farmer's market. Finally she laughed, low and surprised. "All right, Mr. Many Talents, if you ain't scared of moldy ice trays, knock yourself out." He watched her walk away, stomach doing somersaults that had nothing to do with hunger. The diner lights flickered as thunder rolled overhead, and Malcolm realized something crazier than a leaking penthouse had just cracked open. A chance to be liked for the dude under the hoodie, not the commas in his bank app. Across the room, Big Mama caught his eye and winked. "Careful, sugar," she called, voice like butter sliding off hot cornbread. "That girl's got a no-nonsense heart. Treat it right or it'll slap you harder than my skillet." Malcolm lifted his tea in salute. "Yes, ma'am," he whispered and took the first bite of pie that tasted suspiciously like fate. Chapter 2. Two Worlds, One Lie. The rain let up, but Montgomery's summer air still clung to everything like sticky tape when Malcolm wheeled his dusty Civic into the Carters' driveway the next evening. The sunset burnt the sky orange, cicadas screamed from the pecan trees, and old Mr. Earl across the street blasted blues from his porch, the guitar licks sliding across the asphalt like butter on grits. Malcolm popped his trunk, pulled out a toolbox that hadn't seen action since college, and wondered if he was about to fix a fridge or blow up his whole undercover act. Inside, Renee wiped sweat off her brow, standing next to a refrigerator that rattled louder than a church tambourine. She smirked when Malcolm walked in. "Look at you, Bob the Builder," she teased. "Didn't think you'd show." He shrugged like it was no big deal, but his heart thudded. "Told you I got skills, plus your sweet tea attacked me. I owed payback." While Malcolm unplugged coils and poked around, Jamal, Renee's 9-year-old brother, hovered like a curious mosquito. "You got tattoos? Real plumbers got tattoos," Malcolm chuckled. "Nah, little man, I'm strictly Sharpie free." Jamal pushed his glasses up, suspicious. "You smell like cologne that costs more than this fridge." Malcolm coughed, mumbled something about a Macy's sale, and kept tinkering. An hour later, the fridge hummed smooth as gospel, and Renee did a joyful two-step that made Jamal laugh so hard he dropped his Capri Sun. She handed Malcolm a paper plate stacked with fried chicken and collard greens as payment. "You saved payday dinner," she said, almost shy. Malcolm took a bite, seasoning perfect, heart even fuller. He glanced around the cramped kitchen, paint peeling but family photos everywhere, each frame a battle medal. He felt like an imposter in church clothes. Story goes, when a man drinks from a river, he must speak its name or the water runs bitter. Malcolm kept sipping from Renee's kindness without giving her the truth, and the taste of guilt started to turn sharp. Later that week, he ditched his Range Rover 2 blocks from Big Mama's and hoofed it, sweating through a plain t-shirt so nobody clocked him. At closing time, he helped stack chairs, earning a side-eye from Big Mama. "Boy, you fold metal like someone who never folded nothing but $100 suits," she said, dusting flour off her apron. Malcolm just grinned. "Money don't bend, ma'am." She snorted, but her eyes narrowed like she sensed thunder under clear skies. Trouble brewed quicker than sweet tea left in the sun. Jade, Renee's fire-tongued cousin, pulled up to the diner in a dented Charger, spotted Malcolm wiping tables, and froze. She had seen that face 10 stories tall on a billboard for Reed Development last spring. Montgomery's golden boy with the real estate grin. Jade snapped a covert photo, fingers flying across her phone. "Girl," she texted Renee, "why you got Forbes Jr. bussin' tables like he broke?" Meanwhile, Malcolm and Renee strolled home beneath street lamps, flickering like lazy fireflies. Storefronts were shuttered. The night smelled of honeysuckle and diesel. and a freight train moaned in the distance like a warning horn. Renee talked about Jamal's doctor bills and her dream of opening a daycare one day. Malcolm's chest tightened. "Dream big," he said, voice rough. "Sometimes God hides miracles in plain sight." She laughed softly. "You sound like my granny, always dropping porch wisdom." He almost told her then, right there by the chain-link fence tangled with morning glories. But fear tasted like rust on his tongue. Instead, he reached for a joke. "Granny ever say anything about a guy who fixes fridges for chicken?" Renee bumped his shoulder. "She'd say, feed that man seconds." They both laughed, but the silence after was thick with everything unspoken. In the hush of midnight, Malcolm lay awake in his condo penthouse across town. Yes, the leak was fixed, and stared at the skyline glittering like spilled diamonds. Wind rattled glass, whispering an old proverb his granddad once told. "A mask may hide the face, but it cannot hide the heartbeat." Malcolm knew the beat was getting loud. Sooner or later someone would hear it, and masks crack loud when they fall. Moral whispered like a river under moonlight. When truth sits in the dark, it fattens on fear, but once it steps into sunrise, even shadows must bow. Chapter 3. The truth blew up, right at the cookout. Big Mama's 15th anniversary cookout landed on the first Saturday of August, the kind of Alabama afternoon where the sun stuck to skin like syrup. Smoke from hickory pits curled over the church lot, kids zigzagged between folding chairs, and an old DJ spun Frankie Beverly so loud the asphalt vibrated. Malcolm helped lug coolers, sweat darkening his plain tee, glad nobody noticed him slip $1,000 into the donation jar for Jamal's medical bills. He planned to slide Renee aside after dessert, come clean, and pray she'd forgive a brother for frontin'. Jade arrived early, heels clicking like judges' gavels. She scanned the crowd till her eyes locked on Malcolm stacking paper plates. Her smirk said, "Game on." She strutted to the microphone beside the DJ, snatched it like a purse, and hollered, "Y'all show some love for Montgomery's own millionaire man of the year, Mr. Malcolm Reed." The record scratched silent. Heads jerked. Cameras flew up faster than church fans in July. Renee froze, tongs halfway to the potato salad. The world shrank to the pulse pounding in her ears. Malcolm's face drained like soda left open overnight. Jade kept talking, words sugary yet sharp. "Sis, you ain't tell us you caught Forbes' finest washing dishes for free. Girl, where my wedding invite at?" Laughter rippled, but it felt cold. Renee dropped the tongs, grease splashing her sneakers, and marched through the staring crowd. "Is that true?" she asked, voice low but shaking. Malcolm opened his mouth. Nothing came out but humid air. She stepped closer, eyes glossy. "You let me worry over 15-cent coupons while you slept on silk sheets?" He reached for her hand. She yanked it back like he was a hot stove. Murmurs thickened into commentary, some cheering, some booing, most recording. Over by the grill, Big Mama slammed her spatula, grease popping like gunfire. "Folks, hush that noise. Food's getting cold and gossip's already rotten." Malcolm finally found his voice. "I never meant to clown you, Renee. I just wanted—" She cut him off. "Wanted what? A poverty safari?" Tears slipped, carving glowing tracks on her cheeks. "You were the first person I trusted since Mama passed, and you were play acting." She pivoted, pushing through onlookers. Jamal tried to catch her elbow. She kept walking. Malcolm watched her weave between lawn chairs and neon coolers, each step stomping on his ribcage. Jade sauntered over, smug as a cat. "Told you truth's cheaper than diamonds, player." Malcolm's stare turned razor thin. "You just swung karma like a bat, Jade. Better hope it don't boomerang." He left the mic, the music, the stunned faces, and jogged after Renee, but the street already swallowed her like sunset swallows light. Sirens wailed somewhere downtown, cicadas screeched in the treetops, and Malcolm felt small for the first time in his big-money life. An elder leaning on a cane shuffled beside him, eyes cloudy but wise. "Young blood," he rasped. "Lion that hides its roar still got teeth, but the jungle won't trust it." Malcolm nodded, breath hitching. The old man tapped his shoulder. "Go earn back your roar. Honest this time," Moral whispered beneath fading bass lines. "A hidden crown shines only in darkness. Bring it to daylight or watch it blind the ones you love." Chapter 4. From Riches to Ramen. Malcolm woke before dawn the next day, alone in his penthouse that smelled like fresh paint and regret. City lights glittered below, but they felt as fake as plastic diamonds. He pulled on jeans, a gray hoodie, and the same beat-up Air Force Ones, then drove his Civic to the West Side Community Center, 16 blocks past where his Range Rover usually slept. The humid morning air tasted like metal, and the sun crept over the skyline slow as molasses, turning cracked sidewalks gold. Pigeons scattered when he parked and hauled out buckets of tools. Inside, Pastor Dwight was already preaching to a busted water heater. "Hot water is a blessing, but this machine ain't got the Holy Ghost." Malcolm chuckled and knelt beside him. "Let's lay hands on it, then." For 6 hours, Malcolm crawled under rusty pipes and rewired flickering lights. Sweat dripped down his neck, dust caked his knuckles. Lunch was a cup of ramen noodles he slurped with teenagers in the rec room. No silverware, no caviar, just loud jokes and too much hot sauce. Meanwhile, Renee spent the morning juggling trays at Big Mama's and worrying if Jamal's new prescription would max her credit card. When she clocked out, she hustled to Mercy Clinic, the only place in town that took Jamal's insurance. The lobby smelled of rubbing alcohol and hope. She shuffled forms, her mind still replaying Jade's bombshell. Millionaire Man of the Year. Every time she blinked, she saw Malcolm's silent apology under barbecue smoke. She hated that it still hurt. As fate's GPS would have it, Malcolm lugged a box of donated blood pressure cuffs through the clinic's side door at the same moment Renee stepped from the elevator, clutching a bag of pills. They almost collided again, minus the sweet tea this time. Her eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. "You following me now?" she asked. "Nah," he said, forcing a half-smile. "Just pretending to be useful." A nurse waved him over. He set the box down, wiped his brow, and took a shaky breath. "Renee, can we talk? 5 minutes by the vending machines. I'll buy the world's worst coffee." She should have said no. Instead, curiosity elbowed pride, and she followed. The vending alcove flickered under cheap fluorescent lights. Malcolm fed quarters. The machine groaned, spit out 2 cups of mud-brown brew. He slid one over. "Tastes like burnt dreams," he joked. She didn't laugh. "Why lie?" she asked, voice barely above the hum of the fridge. "You had mansions, but you wanted my broken fridge." He stared into his cup. "Because houses are easy, people are hard. Every woman I met saw my wallet first. I just wanted someone who'd look at me and see me. But I messed it up trying to hide." Renee folded her arms. "You could have trusted me with the truth." "You're right," he said. I'm sorry, and I know sorry's cheap. He pulled a folded flyer from his pocket. Blueprints for renovating the community center roof. I'm auctioning a property next week. Money goes here to Jamal's meds and every kid who shoots hoops on a rainy day. No headlines, no ribbon cutting, just help. Renee's hard stare softened, but walls stayed up. Words are wind, Malcolm. Show me bricks. He nodded. Bricks on deck, promise. Jamal shuffled in, wheezing, eyes sparkling when he spotted Malcolm. You gonna fix the broken hoop too? Malcolm knelt. Little man, we're adding nets so clean you'll hear swoosh from heaven. Jamal beamed and Renee's heart wobbled, traitorous. She sipped the awful coffee, grimaced, but didn't walk away. Outside, thunderclouds rolled in, turning the sky the color of bruised peaches. A warm wind kicked up trash along the curb, rattling street signs like bones. Malcolm watched the storm gather and felt strangely calm. Maybe truth, like rain, made a mess at first, but washed what needed cleaning. Moral murmured through the coming thunder. A gift wrapped in lies rots like fruit in the sun. But a truth planted in pain can grow a harvest of trust, if the farmer tends it with honest hands. Chapter 5. The Porch Proposal and the Pineapple Juice. 3 weeks after the vending machine truce, the West Side Community Center smelled like fresh lumber and victory. Summer cicadas hollered from magnolia branches while neighbors crowded the basketball court, waiting for the ribbon cutting. New nets swayed like cotton clouds, and above them a brand new roof gleamed silver under the afternoon sun. Pastor Dwight raised his hands. Saints and sinners, give it up for the man who sold a skyscraper so these babies can hoop in the rain. Phones flashed as Malcolm, still in his scuffed sneakers, sliced the ribbon with kindergarten scissors. Kids stormed the court, sneakers screeching, laughter climbing the humidity like fireworks. Renee watched from the shade, arms folded, expression tight as a jar lid. She'd spent the morning double-checking. Auction papers filed, checks cleared, no headlines, no press release. Just quiet receipts and a roof that didn't leak. Jade lurked by the fence, scrolling her phone for dirt, but the internet offered nothing scandalous. Even rich folks slip halos on sometimes, an old auntie muttered, side-eyeing Jade. Jade huffed and drifted off like smoke without fire. Later, thunder growled over the river and the crowd scattered. Malcolm grabbed a stray ball and jogged to Renee. Game of horse? She arched an eyebrow. You sure? My jumper's disrespectful. Jamal whooped from the sideline. Bet a soda, sis. They played until the rain broke loose, warm droplets sizzling on hot asphalt. Malcolm bricked every shot except the last, a goofy bank-in that made Jamal howl. Soaked and laughing, Renee finally admitted, You kept your word, handyman. Malcolm's grin faded to something softer. Got one more promise to honor. That evening, rain fizzed off tin roofs while lightning painted the sky purple. On Mrs. Carter's wooden porch, a single bulb swung in the breeze, moths dancing around it like clumsy angels. Malcolm arrived carrying a cooler and 2 chipped mason jars. Renee sat on the steps in a faded sundress, knees pulled to her chest. If that's another apology, make it quick. Mosquitoes got no chill tonight. He popped the cooler, lifting a frosty jug. Homemade pineapple juice. Your granny's recipe. I bribed Big Mama for it. She smirked. That old gossip can't keep water, let alone recipes. He poured, hands trembling just enough to rattle the ice. Remember you said bricks, not words? From his hoodie pocket, he pulled a rolled deed and a tiny velvet pouch. First brick. This porch gets new stairs next week. Whole house, actually. Paid in full in your name. Second brick, well, more like a pebble. He opened the pouch. Inside lay a slim silver band engraved with Jamal's favorite phrase, "Don't miss your layups." Her breath hitched. "Malcolm, rings don't fix lies." "True," he said, "but truth can steady shaky knees. I'm asking for a chance to spend the rest of my life proving it. If you say no, I'll still replace the roof and mow your grass till kingdom come." Silence stretched, thick with night sounds, tree frogs chirping, distant freight train humming like a bass line. Renee sipped the juice, sweet and tart. Memories rolled across her tongue, the first spilled tea, the busted fridge, the burnt coffee, the shining roof. Finally, she set her jar down and slipped the ring onto her thumb, not quite ready for the proper finger. "One day at a time probation," she said. "You mess up, I get the house and the juice recipes." Malcolm laughed, tears mixing with rain. "Deal, coach." Jamal burst through the screen door, face sticky with popsicle. "So we move into a mansion or what?" Renee and Malcolm locked eyes. "Nah, little man," Malcolm said, scooping him up. "We're turning this house into a castle right here on Pecan Street." Jamal pumped a fist. "Bet!" Lightning split the clouds, illuminating 3 silhouettes sharing pineapple toast under a swinging porch light. In that glow, money shrank and hearts stretched wide enough to hold a storm. Moral rolling soft as thunder downriver. A crown gained by pride will tumble in the wind, but a crown earned by service roots itself like oak. Narrows the rich man's pockets, yet fattens every soul it shades.